Recovery all around Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. We begin with Channel 4's Francesca Amaker. Fran, you went inside some of these damaged homes at Jacksonville Beach. What did people there tell you?
Well, Tom, that's the thing. These people didn't have to say much to me. It was everything I saw as I was driving down these residential streets. Now, I spent my evening here at the sanctuary where there was debris stacked almost towards my knees. There was even debris as high as my chest. Tonight, as we ventured into some of these homes, it wasn't what was on the outside. It was even worse inside.
We had a remediation company come in and they suctioned everything up, but there's still a lot more.
Kim Popovich is just one of the many homeowners who live inside this quaint Jacksonville Beach community called the Sanctuary. But after Hurricane Matthew, her home, along with almost all of her neighbors, was far from a place of safety or refuge.
There was water everywhere. You were seeping in water and your shoes were sticking to it and you could see the water. It had already dissipated, but there was still water soaked in the carpeting and all the rugs.
And now, 72 hours after the storm, this is what her neighborhood looks like from the sky. Rugs, molding, flooring, all piled at least 5 feet high at the end of every driveway after water from the intercoastal waterway rushed through windows, doors, and garages during Hurricane Matthew. And though you could say everyone is fighting a tough battle after the storm, Kim's storm began earlier this year.
I'm almost done with my chemotherapy.
Back in April, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
I did not need this. I lost my mom in June, and it's been a really rough year.
But she says after the hurricane, her neighbors have come to her side, and the home she thought she would be salvaging alone will be flooded with neighbors who want to help pick up the pieces for her and their community.
The community is fantastic. Everybody's just wonderful. A lady who lived next door to me and moved out in 2002 just showed up this morning to help pack some things. So I haven't seen her since 2002. So there's really good people here in Northeast Florida.
And this sanctuary community is definitely coming together. Now, coming up at 11 o'clock, you will not want to miss this. We're going inside of one of the homes that has been completely gutted. I'll tell you how long the residents who live there are going to have to stay in a hotel. That's up next. You will not want to miss what it looks like inside. I'm live. Francesca Amaker, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Fran. And for some people in Glynn County, their wait is almost over. Starting tomorrow, residents will be allowed back on St. Simon's Island for the first time since the hurricane.
The damage on the island, we're told, is extensive, and anxiety has been mounting among people who want to check on their homes. Channel 4's Ethan Callaway is joining us live. Ethan?
Tom, Mary, this is welcome news to those people who do live on the island. Take a look behind me. You can see police still have this access point closed off at the intersection of Taurus and Glynn, and they made the announcement today at noon tomorrow. This intersection will reopen and those people will be allowed back on to St. Simon's Island. For 4 nights, the Holiday Inn in Brunswick has been home for Harold Holmesley and his wife. But at noon Tuesday, they'll be heading back to their real home on St. Simon's Island.
I feel great just go in and throw all the spoiled food out and that sort of thing. Start reliving our life again. We love St. Simon's. We both retired from Mobile and moved here about 18 years ago from North Carolina.
The Holmesleys evacuated Thursday just as county officials urged them to. They've lived on the island for 18 years, owning their own real estate company, fully understanding the risks that come along with calling the coast home.
It's just one of those things that you get used to when you live on this island and expect it. You go with the flow, do what you have to do.
Officials holding a news conference at Glynn County Police Headquarters today explain the recovery is still very much in progress. Power has been restored to most across the county, but some are still in the dark. A boil water advisory is still in effect for St. Simon's, even as much of Glynn County is getting back to normal.
But the challenge has been getting St. Simon's because we had some real issues with raw sewage, the water problem as far as boiled water, and of course lack of power, and a lot of trees down over there.
Commissioner Richard Strickland says it's been a tiring process for everyone, working around the clock to speed the recovery process along. He says there's one thing he asks of the anxious public: patience.
I know people get frustrated and they get mad, but they just don't understand it in the best, for the most part, just how quickly we've been able to do what we've done.
The county officials and the people who are in charge, they do a fantastic job. And I think, we have no control over what the old boy upstairs has for us. We just trust him and put our faith in him and keep on churning.
And Holmesley did say one of his neighbors who was allowed access onto the island checked on him and his wife's house and said everything is fine there. He says they consider themselves some of the lucky ones. Police are still urging everyone who re-enters the island tomorrow to use extreme cautions and again to continue to practice patience. We're live in Glynn County, Georgia tonight. I'm Ethan Calloway, Channel 4, the local station.
The city of Jacksonville is still cleaning up in the wake of the storm. Many neighborhoods still have piles of debris. Residents are working to clear from fallen trees. The city has hired private haulers to help with the debris pickup around the city. It will be opening temporary dump sites to handle the extra waste. Those locations have not yet been announced, but today the mayor declared debris removal will begin tomorrow. An historic hurricane has led to an historic move by Mayor Curry, announcing the creation of a First Coast Relief Fund.
Money that the public donates to the fund will specifically and solely help storm victims, and any that is left over will be set aside for future disasters here in our area. Joy is joining us now with details. Joy, the mayor pointed out in his words there are a lot of people in the city hurting right now.
Tom, Mary, the mayor says he knows people in our area, they're tired, they're hungry, they're thirsty, which is why the city has been delivering supplies to people in need, and the city wants to continue to do that with the help of those residents who have fared comparatively well through Hurricane Matthew. Mayor Curry says 100% of the public's donations to the First Coast Relief Fund will go to help local people get back on their feet. The fund will serve areas in Baker, Clay, Duval, Nassau, St. Johns County, and Putnam County. The fund will help provisions for food, housing, medical supplies, and other needs. And as you said, any donations left over helping Hurricane Matthew victims will be held to serve local residents in the event of future disasters. Also, the fund being organized in conjunction with several companies and groups like the United Way, the Community Foundation, the Jewish Federation, the Jesse Ball DuPont Fund, and the American Red Cross and Salvation Army. The mayor said today he is always amazed by the generosity and volunteerism displayed by this city. Tom?
Thank you, Joy. Still a lot of cleaning up to do in and around St. Augustine, one of the places that was hardest hit, Volano Beach, where inspectors have declared some homes uninhabitable. There are houses where the foundations have nearly washed away in the storm surge, which left debris scattered along the beach. Also hard hit, the only homeless shelter in St. Johns County, which was flooded with 4 feet of water. The furniture was destroyed and its food supply no longer edible. Channel 4's Janice Harris is joining us live from St. Francis House in St. Augustine, where homeless people are still coming in seeking help. Janice?
That's right. The St. Francis House feeds 5,000 people a month. And there are folks that come here every single day, depending on this place as they survive. Well, tonight, some of the staff that I've had an opportunity to meet, Aaron and Canyon, they're the two people that will have to give some of the bad news tonight, telling folks they cannot stay here. But they still have plenty of things they can give to help to folks over the night. For instance, they have toothpaste and toothbrushes, plenty of food, and for the kids, even maybe some bubbles that might make them smile. But tonight, I found out from the executive director that it is devastating because it may take weeks before they can reopen the shelter here at St. Francis House. Today, St. Francis House is outdoors.
Water.
Yes.
Water.
Passing out water and bag lunches, a devastating reality for the 800 homeless in St. Augustine and this shelter's director.
75% of our homeless population in this county are already unsheltered. So if they were living in the woods, if they had a camp somewhere, that's really destroyed.
Inside, Hurricane Matthew has left its mark at St. Francis House. Water lines trace where sewage water filled their 3 buildings. Soon, mold will grow. Their pantry that feeds 5,000 a month was flooded too.
So all of these food boxes were for families?
Yes. These were for households. We serve about 350 different households.
Dombowski says 75% of the food must be thrown away.
These are the lines.
They're
Their transition home was damaged too. The tiles lifted up by the floodwater, empty beds and personal items left behind during the evacuation all soaked. Other shelters in St. Johns County were damaged too.
We're almost done.
And just up the road, a free meal from Dining with Dignity for the homeless and poor. Cassie Guy Johannesson oversees funding for all shelters in the county and says it's been a challenging year even before Hurricane Matthew.
St. Johns County has taken a huge hit financially for homeless funding this year. We've lost almost $700,000 in funding through 3 different grants because of the way the process has changed.
And despite a tough year, this staff remains optimistic the residents will stay at another church on the north side for at least 1 week until St. Francis can be restored. They will help whoever, whenever they can, outdoors.
And again, you can really see their commitment because they've literally brought all of the food that they can still use outside. And folks have been coming throughout the night to receive that help. If you would like to help, visit our website, news4jax.com. We have a link there for you to find out more about St. Francis House. St. Augustine, Janice Harris, Channel 4, the local station.